All right. We're going to get started. It is 7 o'clock. Calling the meeting to order. First is our flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Our first item is roll call.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Bollenbacher. Here. Ms. Compatella is absent. Mr. Hof.
Here.
Mr. Marks.
Here.
Mr. Oliverio.
Here.
Ms. Pokalnik.
Here.
Mr. Wozniak.
Here.
Mayor Perry.
Here.
Right, thanks. And we have Solicitor Alex, and I forget your last name. Giorgetti. Solicitor Giorgetti.
Here.
And then engineers are not here tonight. Director Tedesco here. 240 not here. And then myself, we do have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Price. Mr. Solicitor.
Yes, just briefly before we get started, we do just have to approve and amend the agenda as presented to comply with the Sunshine Act. So we would just need someone to make a motion, again, just to approve and amend the agenda as presented.
And to note, that's because I posted it 2 hours late, 22 hours ahead of time, but it should have been 24 hours ahead of time. So my mistake, which is why we have to make this motion.
Motion to amend and approve the agenda as written.
Okay, Mr. Marks.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Bollenbacher. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, our first item is our consent agenda. So we have the council meeting minutes from June 25th and also the bill list from July 9th, all on the OneDrive for council to review. Looking for a motion to approve the July 9th, 2026 consent agenda, pending bill list approval by the borough president, manager, and treasurer.
So moved.
Ms. Bollenbacher.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Pokalnik. Any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, public comments on agenda items. At this time, citizens may address the Crafton Borough Council on any issue appearing on today's agenda. Only residents and taxpayers of the Borough of Crafton will be permitted to address the council. Comments on non-agenda items will be taken at the end of tonight's meeting. Speakers will be permitted to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Groups of people will be required to designate a spokesperson to represent them before the council, who may speak for a maximum of 5 minutes. Council has the option to respond or not at the end of the address. The solicitor is our assigned timekeeper. Please state your name and physical address for the record. Okay. We have Sandy Morris.
Hi, Sandy Morris, Bar Avenue. I was just wondering, the engineer's report, if you could expand a little bit of what's going on with Brian.
Yep.
It's been in that parade, whatever you want to say.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the person who lives up there, Perrine.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
But it just happens to be in that eminent domain. I just was curious if there's more information.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. All right. Anybody online, please raise your hand. Okay. All right. Our first item is our president's report. So as you've probably seen, we have lots of construction going on in the borough. I say this at every meeting and asking for patience. There's a lot of work being done. This is good work. Of course, the sewer projects, plus there's going to be nicely paved and rebricked roads as part of it. And just asking for patience. These things can't get done, by magic, without closing roads, without construction being in place. So just asking for patience as we go through those projects. All right, that's all I have. Mayor's report.
All I have tonight is to thank everyone on the rec board and all their volunteers and everybody else who contributed to our 4th of July celebration, and to the community members who were intrepid and came out even though we had the heat and the rain for most of it. So thank you very, very much. I know everybody worked so hard.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Perry. Solicitor's report. Alex,
There was an executive session held prior to tonight's meeting to discuss personnel and real estate matters. Beyond that, nothing else I have to report right now. Same
Okay.
goes for Steve. I checked with him beforehand too.
thank you. And our manager's report, Mr. Price.
Okay, the first thing I have on the manager's report is a change we discussed last week, last meeting about changing basically allowing for a higher budget for asphalt this year based on what we plan to pave. We had only budgeted $65,000 for it, but when we got the estimates from Gateway, they were significantly higher at 128. Now, keep in mind, this is an estimate that we have not gone out the bid, so they tend to estimate high, so this still could come down. But basically, this is how it affects the budget. We had budgeted $265,000, and with this change, we're going to be at $310,000. And I also suggest we add the alley, which is directly adjacent, mainly because this number will also probably be high because it's just based on quantities. It might come back lower. So we're not even committing to anything up to right now, other than just going out the bid with these projects. So it could come back that we're actually in budget. But we don't know that at the time. We're basing this on estimates. So are there any questions about the different changes in amounts and whatnot before I call a motion?
I think the thing you mentioned was the budget was 265. However, there was work from 2025 done in 2026 on the
Right.
brick. So the budget from the brick streets in 2025 was not used, and that is being carried over to this.
That's
So the budget it's not necessarily going over budget. It is looking at the budget from 2025 in addition to the 2026 budget.
which was all pulled out of the reserve. So it's really just it's actually overall, you're right, it's less. So, yep.
Does everybody understand? That is.
So with that, I'd like a motion to approve going out the bid to pave specified portions of Fountain Street and Linwood Alley and add the alley perpendicular to Linwood Alley as an add alternate.
So moved.
Ms. Bolenbacher
Second.
and Mr. Hope. Any questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Okay, the next thing I wanted to bring up was we've been getting significant complaints of rodents around the Broadhead area construction. We have looked into it this week as to what the borough could do more largely to deal with that. And really what I came up with, I worked with WIT Exterminators, which is a commercial extermination company that can do a larger scale extermination. And they basically said, if we don't have direct evidence of very specific places, it's going to be very difficult. So I think what I'm going to suggest is I'm going to walk and pass out letters to every house. And if they do have issue, or if they're having issues, we would be willing to cover it. It'll probably be about $300 a house if we do cover it. I've probably had about 5 complaints overall, but I've been hearing that from each person that their neighbors are also complaining about it. Who knows if it's the same people that I'm getting, but this way it won't be large scale extermination. It will really be kind of focused in smaller areas. Most likely won't cost the borough more than a couple $1,000s. Overall, I think that's a pretty legitimate, a pretty fair price. Normally, rodents and these things are handled by the residents because typically it's stuff that you do on your own property or maybe a neighboring property that are the problem. This is something that is caused by sewer work. When you have massive sewer work to the degree that we have, rodents like that lose their homes and they need to find new homes. And that's what's happened. So that's my proposal for how we move forward. If there's no objections, that's what I'm going to plan to do. But yeah.
Does WIT do an inspection beforehand, or they just come out and start doing
I
the
think they'll
work?
I think what we're gonna do is make it on basically we'll try to set it up like if you have a problem, call us within the next 2 weeks. And then they'll come out and do inspections for every one of those. And then we get a group price because they're not coming out multiple times. They're gonna come out and do it once. They'll probably inspect everyone first, like figure out what the problem is in each house or each property, and then to design a plan for what's the best way to attack it. And that way normally it's he was telling me it's $500 to $600 a house if you have to come out like for one call
Mhm.
to do a full scale extermination. But this would be, because we're doing it in a group, we can get it a little bit cheaper than that. So.
Is there a reason why we want to make it optional? We don't just offer it to anybody in a reasonably affected area and just roll out the possibility of them landing in a house that's, maybe folks aren't living in right now or whatever, and then it not getting treated because we don't get a response?
Yeah, because it's really hard to control then. It gets, the expense will be dramatically higher that way. This controls the expense a lot more. If we have, what, 1,700 properties in the borough.
I'm not saying for the whole borough.
Yeah, but for the whole area. I think you still make it them call you, have them call you. I think that just is a better way to handle it, because otherwise we're just guessing on where they are. Now, if a neighbor calls because they're having a problem because they have an abandoned house next door, they'll know. I would imagine they'll call us. So that's my take on it. Okay, with that being said, that is the end of the manager's report, but then I guess I'm doing the engineer's report tonight too, so. And back on Broadhead, I will be putting out an announcement tonight, or tomorrow morning, first thing tomorrow morning. Belvedere, it was intended to be paved tomorrow. It is not going to get paved tomorrow, the one side of it, which means that street is gonna live with a one-way street, a one in, one out street for the weekend. We did have a contractor for this weekend build places to pull off. So if a car is coming down, there's places to pull off to let the other car pass, but it is going to be a challenging situation for the weekend. It is getting paved on Monday. And I apologize, there's been a lot of that's been a very difficult street because the only street that's a one in, one out. So it's been much harder to deal with than the other streets where you have access on both ends. So that's the first thing to note. Park Street and Belvedere continue with the concrete curbs and sidewalks. And I guess I should note the biggest part is the sewer work is done. That's big, because that was the whole reason for the project.
Yeah.
Now it's all the aesthetic work, all the upper infrastructure work. So that's what's happening now. Park Street is also getting full depth paving of one lane. Broadhead was actively being paved today, and tomorrow Crafton Boulevard will be getting the final speed bumps that still need to be finished, and then some of the driveway work that still needs to be done. And then I think the rest of Broadhead will be paved tomorrow, and if not tomorrow, then Monday. I mentioned that they've already excavated one lane of Park, but Belvedere has already been excavated. One lane has entirely been excavated. So sorry if this is incorrect. I've noticed this is incorrect. I must not have updated that. And then they're working on paving then the one lane, and then they'll start excavating the second lane. We do expect to finish early. We're just not sure when. So I don't want to say anything until we know more. Perrine Street. We do know that for the next item, Perrine Street, we do know that it's actually we've gotten the paperwork from the city and it's actually in court now. So now we're just waiting for the ruling on the finance. We've been working with the property owner, and we're just waiting on the ruling on from the court on what the amount will be. And then we have to pay it and move forward. Once you get the amount, there still could be a process and appeals, and it could go on for a long time, but we're allowed to work. Then we're not held up anymore. So it should be within the next month, I would assume, but I don't know that for sure. And then as soon as we get notice of that, then we'll start the process with Gateway of going out to bid and getting the project started. That's the Perrine Street update. 2026 sewer system repairs. Well, we're still kind of in the same place we have been for a while now. We're still waiting on the final restoration for mill and pave on the excavation repairs around the borough. So if you have places that look like they're not finished, they probably aren't, because that is where we actually tear up the street. And so that part has been done, but the repaving hasn't been done yet. Manhole to manhole lining, no one would really see it out in the field because it's done underground. But they're waiting on the materials to get the work scheduled. And we've been waiting on that for a month, so I'm not sure when exactly that's going to start. Next is the Noble Linwood Parks. The plans have been finalized. And Do you remember, Mike, where we're at on the grant requirements for that one?
Yes, we're working through compliance, state level DCNR compliance. And we're pretty well caught up with that. Just yesterday, me and Gateway engineers were going line by line through the budget, which we have to submit to DCNR. So we're in compliance purgatory, which is always a lot of fun. Once we get out of that, we can go out to bid. And they're gonna match the budget that we put together yesterday with the bid docs, and then we should be free and clear.
Good. Thanks, Mike. The next is the people's gas line replacement. Again, not us, and we asked them to go in with us at least 3 times. But they will be, the work is taking less time than we thought, which is good. We do have the contractor has contacted us. They are starting the work next week. On probably the 15th, but it really depends on how long the other job takes. They might be here on the 14th, they might be here on the 16th. And it should work 6 to 8 weeks. They do only work 9 to 3 during the day, so there's only gonna be one lane closed for that 6-hour period. So if you're going to work or if you're in the rush hour period, it shouldn't affect you too much. And we're working with Gateway right now with the Ingram project, because we know the Ingram project is going on at the same time, causing also more traffic on that area. So we're trying to do what we can to mitigate that. I don't have a solution yet, but hopefully by Monday I'll have a better plan on where we're gonna suggest folks go if there's backups. So, and if you have any questions about that, we can give you the number of the folks at People's Gas to call if you have any issues with any of the work that's happening. We'll put that on our website too, make sure that's posted. Actually, probably when we put out a savvy on it too, we'll make sure it's posted, so that information is out there. The next 2 items have been we just keep them on the agenda. No updates on either of them. Crafton Boulevard improvements. We got an extension. We're just waiting to meet with the city. And the same thing with the next one. It's the same meeting with the city on the improvements for Crafton Boulevard around the school. The next thing, the road paving and brickwork, we approved the money to go out the bid for the road paving, so that was in the manager's section. And then for the brickwork, we've completed all the brickwork except for the work on North Grandview, because the water company still has to complete their work. We were told it would happen in July. Now it's the 9th of July. We haven't heard. So we need to contact them and check up and see where they're at on that. I don't have confirmation on when they expect to do their work. So really no update there. And then a couple more roads have been paved as a part of Broadhead, and Broadhead itself I think should be done tomorrow or Monday. Park is half complete. Coulter is now complete. Crafton Boulevard's done, except for I think there are a couple more speed bumps that need to be finally formed or reformed, and then painted. And then Grinnell, the bricks, I think it's done on Grinnell, so we've moved off of Grinnell onto North Linwood with brick trench repair. And I'm not sure if Rebecca has been done, so I did not check that today. So Rebecca has not been done yet. So that might be happening next week when they pave. And those tend to be relatively quick. When they pave, it's mill one day, pave the next, or sometimes even mill in the morning and pave in the afternoon, depending on how big the project is. The Park Street one, the ones that are full depth, like Park Street and Broadhead and Belvedere do take longer. And that's my update for the engineer's report.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Price. Community and Economic Development, Mr. Tedesco.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Item A82 Belvedere, we discussed in an executive session, so we're up to date on that. Item B, the Tricog Land Bank properties. As you know, there were 5 properties, and one of them was 37 Thomas, and that property was recently removed from the list because it is being rehabilitated by a private sector individual. And I better pause there. Jim is more on top of where that's at than me, so I want to make sure we address any questions there might be on 37 Thomas before moving on.
Yeah, I don't have any really more to say about it than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
Okay, item C, this one's a little longer. There's a motion. This is a subdivision application, which is at the end of the process. And I shared this at the last council meeting, and I'm going to share the exact same presentation. The applicant is asking for a parcel consolidation, turning 3 parcels into 2 parcels. This is an application that does not require any land development. I'm going to show a series of images. Here's what the formal site plan looks like. I want to point out all the circles on the left, which are blank. These are all of the certifications that are needed once this application is approved by council. So once this is approved, the applicants go out and get all of those signatures that you see on the left-hand side of the screen, and everybody stamps it with their special stamps. So the applicant is not done working to get this recorded until all these signatures are in and they can record it with the county. So obviously this thing that you see in front of you is not legible. So let me simplify it to a map. We are sitting at this blue circle in the middle, right next to Serafino's that hopefully everybody can see. I'll use a mouse. Here we are. The subdivision application is in this orange box, and I will zoom in on that. To right here, it is 13 Bell, 15 Bell, and 17 Bell Avenue. The parcel in the middle is going to disappear, and the two parcels on either side are going to become both larger parcels. The parcel in the middle is an empty lot, and the homeowners on each side, the property owners, have a private sector agreement to share the parcel in the middle. So this is all cooperative amongst the homeowners. It requires a motion by Borough Council. So let me read that, and then I will, and then discussion can take place. A motion to approve the Taylor Palmer Chichario subdivision plan lot line consolidation application located on 13, 15, and 17 Bell Avenue, as reviewed by Gateway Engineers in their letter dated May 20th, 2026, and recommended for approval by the Planning Commission on June 23rd, 2026. And I did forget to mention one last thing. This application was submitted almost a year ago. So even for the most simple subdivision applications, it takes about a year for the most simple applications. So here we are. I will yield the floor.
So moved.
Oh,
That was
the motion. Okay. Mr. Hove?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Marks, any questions or discussion?
Really have questions or discussion, I guess. I know Mike pointed to the blurry thing in a bunch of circles. I did zoom in and I can see what they are, just in case folks are curious. Like, it's got to be notarized, got to get a certificate of title, no mortgage, surveyor is already signed, municipal engineer will need sign, planning commission's already approved, right? That will need stamped. Borough will be considering approving tonight, and then it goes to the county department for economic development. So those are all the circles, in case you were wondering what all the blurry mess was over there.
Anything else? All in favor?
I was gonna have a quick question. Are they doing anything with the property or just having a larger piece of property?
Larger
That's the
piece.
whole point of it.
My understanding is it will essentially become side yards.
I think they've largely already been treating it as they're already their side. They've been neighbors for a long time.
Mhm.
My understanding is they just want to make it official.
Just curious. I'm done.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes.
That concludes my report.
All right, we'll go to our standing committee reports. So Finance, Administration, Sustainability, Mr. Hope.
Thank you. First off, the committee has not met since the previous council meeting, but we'll be meeting prior to the next council meeting. So I'll have a more in-depth financial update then, but and it will be halfway through our fiscal year, and we'll have a nice comparison with based on where we were last year halfway through versus this year halfway through, but we're not anticipating any kind of concerns or surprises. The Public Works Collective Bargaining Agreement, we are still awaiting their union vote at this point in time, so no update there. And so a staff position change. Back on May 8th was our borough engineer's final day employed by the borough, leaving that position open. The committee discussed possibilities for a little while, and we came across the opportunity to change that borough engineer position to a director of public services position, and the roles and responsibilities accordingly. The quick version is that we don't have as many needs for a full-time borough engineer as we did in the past. We do have needs for other borough services and things like that. So it felt like the right time to make that change. So with that, I'd be asking for a motion to approve the creation of a Director of Borough Services position to replace the Borough Engineer position that was vacated in May of 2026.
So moved.
Okay, Ms. Fulconic,
Second.
Mr. Marks, any questions or discussion?
I mean, it's worth calling out that, you know, we discussed some things as far as, you know, information around what this change might look like, right? We're predicting that kind of this all comes out in the wash from a budget perspective. As far as, you know, salaries and benefits and stuff go, right? We'll end up saving a little bit by going away from the engineer salary and benefits to a director. So it's like it should be either net positive or nearly zero as far as the changes go.
Yeah, and just to clarify one thing too, to make it more clear that one of the big reasons the engineer is not needed anymore is we've, in the last 5 years now, we have invested $24 million in capital projects. That is enormous for a borough that has an annual budget of $6 million. We are now coming to the end of that. And so having an engineer on staff made sense when we were in the midst of that, because they can incorporate and pull off a lot of those costs. Now that those projects are winding down and we're just having normal park projects and trail projects, 100,000, 500,000 at a time, $1 million at a time, not 6-7 million at a time. Now it doesn't make sense as much to have an engineer, especially hiring an engineer today, even different from 3 years ago when we hired Larry. We would have to go out for a much higher budget. We'd probably have to go out for a $140,000 budget to get an engineer, whereas we're dropping the salary for this position down to $85,000 to $95,000, basically being a public works director with a bunch of other services underneath them. So just to clarify some of that.
Yeah, and I think we ought to make it clear too that what Larry did for us and all that doesn't go away. There's still going to be need for engineering services. And so it won't be done by a borough personnel anymore. It will be taken care of by Gateway. So that there will be some cost to having Gateway do what Larry had been doing.
And to point out, a lot of what Larry was doing can be done by someone who's also not an engineer, but we had been putting a lot of that work on Gateway, like doing grant management work and similar things. So we're able to kind of shift some of that. But yeah, that's exactly right.
Yep. But not again, historically, right, when Larry was hired, it's because we had all these huge projects either in flight or we saw them on the horizon, and having that engineering position in-house offset a lot of costs that we would have otherwise shipped to Gateway. And now that things are ramping down, I think a number of us who've been on council for a while or were on however many terms ago it was, we pulled him in with the expectation that this would be time bound, right? So we know that eventually these projects would ramp down, and he knew that too. May have also led to his decision to leave. So it's timely that we happen to be ramping these projects down at the same time that we're considering changing the structure here. So.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Infrastructure and land use, Mr. Price for Ms. Compton.
Oh, that's right.
Unless
so many parts tonight.
you wanted to do it.
Yeah, it's up to you. You can do it.
I'll be happy. We can, if I need anything, you can chime in. How about
Sure.
that? So the DCNR and GEDTF, which I can't remember what those letters stand for off the top of my head. I know DCNR, but anyways, it's the pool area improvement grants, which combined together total over $404,000. And we're currently working with DCNR compliance to finalize the scope and the bidding procedures. And again, this is all the improvements to our pool area, which is going to include things like a new slide and a really nice pavilion and something known as a water climbing wall, which I'm sure my son will be very excited about. So, but But yeah, so we're still finalizing scope and the bidding procedures. Second item is the DCED $325,000 grant for pedestrian and other business district improvements. This was the area mostly around the circle and going up onto East Crafton Boulevard there. So we're doing a design review and adjusting the schedule to ensure best lighting options are considered. We talked in length at the last meeting about string lighting and all kinds of things. And afterwards, we found out that this grant does not expire until it's the end of 2027. Is that correct?
No, I think it's middle of
28. 28. So we were kind of fast tracking things a little bit initially because we wanted to have some stuff done for later in this year, but now we're feeling like we want to slow that down a little bit, look at some more of our lighting options in particular based on the conversations that we'd had in the last public meeting and to have some better, more specific options in front of us whenever we make our decisions. So yeah, we'll have more to come on string lights at a future meeting. So stay tuned for that. And unless there's any questions, that's all I have for infrastructure and land use.
I have a question. As far as the drawings for the two parks, we had mentioned it'd be online. I don't know if they're online yet or not.
Yep, that is my mistake then.
Okay,
I apologize if that.
We had
I
mentioned that.
I thought we had them up, but yep,
I don't
Okay.
know. They may be, but I haven't seen them. So
okay. I thought they were on the front page, but they get quickly moved off the front page when they get,
Okay.
because as new items pop on the front page. So we'll have to look at, double check and make sure they're up.
yeah, I'm not saying they are or not. I'm just bringing
Yeah.
that up. And then the other one was the pool. Are we going to also post drawings of the pool whenever we have those finalized as far as pool improvements? Will we put those up too for people?
Yeah.
People, I go to the pool, people always ask me
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah, we
So-
can actually put something down at the pool. We should actually be a good idea.
Posted at the pool, yeah, that'd be nice, yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be a good place for people that are there to see it, that's
Yep.
a great idea.
This is good timing because I will add that the infrastructure and land use committee has not met since our last public council meeting, but we are meeting before the next one. So both those items, I'll make sure we'll let Kirsten know that those can be on the agenda for those and we can have something next time.
Okay, communication recreation, Ms. Bolenbach.
I would like to echo Mayor Perry's sentiments from earlier. Thank you so much to the rec board and all of the volunteers for all the work that was put in for the 4th of July celebration. Despite the heat and monsoon, my understanding is it went over beautifully. So thank you to everybody and thank you to everybody who partook. And once again, thank you to Huntington Bank and Crafton's American Legion Post
It's one
for their donations.
it might get, it's usually Kirsten's. Once, one of those has an order. Yeah. We need to replace that one.
Next up is Fall Fest, Saturday, September 26th from noon to 6 p.m. We will have music by Mingo Creek. It will be sponsored by our lovely solicitors, Babst Callan, as well as our engineers in Gateway. Mingo Creek will be back for music as well as axe throwing, balloon artist, face painting, the puppy parade, food trucks, vendors, and more to come. Other things coming up that I'll have more detail as they get closer in the year. Once again, the Halloween 21 and over pop-up event at Mini Golf. That is going to happen on October 17th. Celebration of Lights will be Saturday, December 5th, and Holiday House Tour will be Sunday, December 6th, excuse me. We are looking for houses now. As you all remember, we weren't able to have the house tour last year because nobody volunteered. We would love to have one this year. So if you have a beautiful house, please let us use it. I think we are also talking into maybe joining in with the community like stores and things like that too. But if you have a beautiful house, we would love to come troll you. So please let us know. Go to the website, the Craft and Grow website, and let us know. And we're always looking for volunteers. If you enjoy the 4th of July, a lot of time, a lot of work, and a lot of people went into that celebration. So it'd be really great if people would come out and return the favor. So even just an hour or two of your time at something like Fall Fest, or even the day before Fall Fest, the day after Fall Fest, there's always an opportunity to help. So even an hour of your time would be great, very appreciated. So let us know. We'd be happy to get your help. And with no major events coming up until Fall Fest, I just want to remind you there are always ongoing things happening in our neighborhood. We have free yoga in the park every Saturday at 10 a.m. We have mini golf every Friday and Saturday, $2 a round. Both of these are running through September. And we have a plethora of things happening in our neighborhood all the time. A few of the things I went to the website and just briefly went over. We have things like the community garden. We have concerts in the park. We have aqua aerobics. I just saw that we are having bingo. We are having a chalk block party. There's a book club. There is a dinner club. There's so much going on in this neighborhood. You just have to go to our event center and take a look. It's at the website. So come out, have some fun, meet some neighbors. And the only other thing I have to report on is our next newsletter will be coming out in October. I know that's a long ways off, but we will be starting to collect articles in August. So those of you who are going to put an article in, you'll be hearing from us pretty soon. Unless anybody has any questions, that is my report.
Okay. I don't have any questions for Aaron, but just on Greg's point about the Linwood and Noble Park site plans, they are on the website. You have to go to departments and parks and trails, and then under there at the very bottom is all of the attachments, and that includes the site plans that we posted back in June.
Okay, great.
If it's not, we can also repost it on the front page to make it more prevalent too, so.
Yeah, they're there. We'll make them more visible, but
Yes.
they're out there.
Thank you, Ms. Boltenbacher. All right, board's commission recruiting, Ms. Bokalnik.
Thank you. Yeah, so we're excited. We had some moves the past couple of weeks, which are great. So going to start with Civil Service Commission. I'm just jumping straight into my motions. So for looking for a motion here to appoint Matt Barbie to the Civil Service Commission. This is a regular seat for a term set to expire on July 1st, 2032.
So moved.
Ms. Boltenbacher.
Second.
Mr. Marks. Any questions or discussion?
So it says that this person currently a alternate and is looking to join as a full-time member. Yeah.
To do that at the end of the discussion. Yes, you're correct. So Matt currently is serving as an alternate. We had a full-time seat become available. He was interested, so he went through the application process that everyone has to go through. He reapplied, and an interview was conducted by the chairperson, and the recommendation was to have this motion on this agenda. So yes, he currently is serving in an alternate role.
All right. So we have the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. Right, and then we're going to move into Planning Commission. Here I am looking for a motion to appoint Summer Schnellner to the Planning Commission for a term set to expire on April 13th, 2028.
So moved.
Ms. Boltenbacher.
Second.
Mr. Hope. Any questions or discussion?
Do you want to go? Do you want me to set the?
You can set, you set it and then I'll ask questions.
So here we had a vacancy for a couple weeks at least, if not maybe over a month or so. We had a lot of applicants. We had 4, which is pretty high. We usually don't get that many applicants. So we had a very thorough interview process. Again, interview process, just to remind folks, are led by our board chairperson. Interviews were conducted, same questions were asked among all the applicants, and really wonderful candidates, like resumes and the skill sets and the expertise were really great. So yes, so that was how long this has been posted, and it did take us a while. We didn't want to rush anything, so we did go through a couple weeks worth of interviews.
Do have a question. So I mean, did Summer finish moving into Crafton?
Yes, she did.
Okay. I know it says she was in Ingram, a neighbor in Ingram, and she was planning on being here by the time we were considering this. I just want to make sure that
it was the very beginning of July. Yes. Yes, that is correct.
Can you remind everybody what the window is for applying and filling? Or window, do we have a window for that?
You mean in just in general?
As far as when we
Yeah.
have to post, when it has to be filled, when is there a window that we actually accept applications? Or is there's not windows that?
The application is 45 days for a seat that's expiring prior to that. So that's when
post it.
that we can post it.
Right.
So then the application, and you can see a lot of these, some people have vacated, there's been no application, so we've waited some time. Some people have moved into other positions, so the time to fill them, there is none. I think when I had started as president, we had 20 openings.
Yeah.
And
When I
a lot
started,
of
there
them,
were at least 18 openings on boards.
right.
Okay.
Because
So-
there's no requirement to have them filled at a given time.
Mhm. That's why we started this committee, was to have a focus on it, because there never was a focus. So there is actually a charter is all online, which is all the dates and when things have to be posted and when people can apply for it.
Okay, so that we can like post it, and then if we get 5 applicants, we can just really, if we wanted to, we don't have to address those. We could wait another month for another applicant.
Do anything.
Okay,
Yeah, and I would say typically, I think most of you know, I mean, many of you have been like, we usually don't have that high of an interest, and I'll transition and say rec board. I mean, this seat has been available for months, and talk about rec board, all that. So I think that there are some positions that people are way more interested in than others, like Civil Service Commission. This seat has been open for a very long time, and now we'll have 2 alternates that'll probably stay open for a very long time. So I do think Planning Commission gets the most attention, probably from the level of involvement from the community, but I will say rec board is right behind it with the need for sure, so.
All right. Go through the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, so as I just mentioned, we do have a current position, a seat available for rec board. This seat has been open for a while. It does expire, currently the seat expires in February 28 of 2030. Please don't be intimidated by the length of the duration of this particular seat. Civil Service Commission, with the appointment that we just made, this now creates essentially, we're gonna have 2 alternate seats available. So if this is something that interests you, please consider applying. And the Planning Commission, that is the one that we just made the appointment, the motion and appointment for a summer. So the application process, I do feel like a broken record. I repeat it a lot, so I'm happy to go through it again. If anyone would like to ask me, I can do it, but I don't want to bore everybody. But you can apply and get more information on each individual board and commission on our website. It's pretty straightforward, easy to find, and the application is right there as well. So if you have any questions on what the expectations would be for these, please feel free to ask. Happy to give you as much insight as I possibly can. And that's it.
Yeah, it's like.
There's an upcoming,
yeah.
the rec board, we will have that seat, kind of just going to what, Greg, you just inquired, like making sure the community knows, like starting September 30th, we will have a position available on the rec board. If that person who's currently in that seat is interested in reapplying, they go through the normal process that anybody else would. And again, that interview is always conducted by the chairperson of that board or commission.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Pukelnik. All right, the COG is on summer break, so we won't have reports for a couple months on the COG. So we'll go into community announcements. Our next council meeting is Thursday, July 23rd at 7. We do still have a substitute part-time crossing guard for Crafton Elementary available, which can be applied for online. We also have Christmas in July at the Crafton Pool. That's on July 19th from 1 to 8. Wear your best holiday gear, write a wish list for Santa, bring your favorite float, enjoy a free snow cone, and jam out the Christmas tunes poolside. Annual Rotary, so the Llama Plop and Festival, which has been a tradition here from the Rotary, is happening on August 6th. It is a little bit different this year, so there will not be where you're going to buy a ticket ahead of time or the Rotary will be serving food. There will be food trucks there. So there will not be any pre-orders on food. You'll just go and use the food truck. And then the tickets for the llama plop, there's information on the Rotary's website for that. There'll be yard games and raffles and all those kind of things. And that'll be from 4 to 7 on August 6th. Craft and Pool season passes are available on the website. And then the Crafting Performing Arts Summer Music Series starts tonight at 7:30 at Crafton Park. So I'm sure you can make it right after this meeting. We have the Chalk Block Party with the library this Saturday, July 11th from 11 to 2. So 11 to 12 is birdhouse painting. So you can bring the kids for that. And then 11 to 2 is a cookout by the Rotary, snow cones, art, and sidewalk chalk. And then the bingo is July 21st from 6 to 8. So more details on the library's website for those. All right. Public comments. At this time, citizens may address the Crafton Borough Council on any issue. Only residents and taxpayers of the Borough of Crafton will be permitted to address the council. Speakers will be permitted to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Groups of people will be required to designate a spokesperson to represent them before the council, who may speak for a maximum of 5 minutes. Council has the option to respond or not at the end of the address. The solicitor is our assigned timekeeper. Please state your name and physical address for the record. So for this, we can just raise hands here, and then we'll go to the people online to raise their hand. Crystal?
Thank you, Crystal Beam, 57 Belvedere Street. I'm here to thank the entire community at large. We had a wonderful Thomas J. Witt dinner on Friday evening, followed by an early morning down at Crafton Park for the 5K. We had 202 people cross the finish line, but we had 228 registered. Of those, we were able to give everyone a t-shirt up through June 28th registration. So we're very proud of that. I just like to say that the police department did a fantastic job, followed by our public works. They helped us with all of the barricades and getting everybody through the streets safely. We did have volunteers at all of the different intersections. We had 2 water buffaloes. The list goes on and on. We had sponsors on the back of our t-shirt who supported us. Volunteers who came forward at the last minute because this race grew faster and faster by the day. We were very excited to do that. The Witt family came in from all over the country. We gave them a mini tour of their old stomping grounds. They had a little lemonade stand, and they were very grateful, sent us a lot of pictures. And I just want to say that we were just delighted to work with the community and bring so many people, whether you were running for fun, running for the win, our spectators. It was just lovely, and we can't wait to do it again next year. And I want to thank also Crafton Borough for the Savvy Citizen announcements, as well as the marquee. The fire department put a post up early on when we began to talk about this in April. It was just a wonderful time to bring everybody together, and we look forward to it next year. We learned a lot. We did a lot of things really well. We missed a couple things. We had some last minute blips, but we recovered. I didn't have a voice by the time the race was over. I think I asked 4 times. I'm not a runner, but what do I say? What do I say? I didn't know how to hit the bullhorn, and I had so many, I didn't know how to start the race. And I think I was so nervous because I was thinking, I'm going to mess this up. I've never done anything like this. And we pulled through. So, and I'm always willing to admit my mistakes, but I think it was ready. I wanted to say ready, set, go, but it was runners take your mark. And I couldn't remember from 1 minute to the next what to say. But all in all, I just want to thank the whole community and anybody outside that supported us, and we look forward to coming back next year. Thank you.
Thanks. So Crystal, thank you for organizing that. I know it's a lot of work. Your computer crashed. I mean, all sorts of things, and that happens with every event, but to put on the event, and I know you had a lot of volunteers, but your leadership there was evident, as it always has been. So thank you for that. And also Cafe 412 for donating.
And I thank them all on Facebook over and over again. If you didn't have the rigatoni, meatballs, salad, bread and butter, and I have to say I had white on, so I did not eat that evening, but he packaged a little package up for me. The food was wonderful. It's a wonderful marketing. It's a win-win for us because we got to market their event. We decorated the night before, and yes, I always say you never let them see you sweat, but I did. I lost my computer trying to download an app for my Sonos speaker because the last time we had a videographer, this time I was it. I have to tell you, our volunteer said, oh, we need this app. So I go to it and this app was malware. It took over my entire computer. Everything was going smoothly. Thank goodness my IT guy told me not, he wanted to take my backup computer because he didn't want to see it fell again. Thank goodness I kept it because I was able to go home, get everything set back up again, and everything went wonderful. So, and Coletta, I'd like to thank you personally as well. I reached out to Coletta, thought she was the magic wand behind our police department, and with Chief Ford stepping up, and he has a son that runs. So I called Coletta and I said, I'm not sure if you had a hand in this, but thank you very much. And Coletta said, I'd like to do a proclamation. Maybe it's proclamation. I might be saying it wrong. And I sent her the WIT documentary. She watched it. She didn't ask a lot of questions. And when she came, I thought it was a proclamation for the WIT family. I'm running out of time. I thought that's what it was for. But thank you, Coletta, because it was for Craft and Heritage in our 7 years in the community. So thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Crystal. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Did you? Yeah. Yeah, you had your hand raised after Crystal, so. Mhm.
Nancy
Oh.
Orton, Teen Shark Tears,
What was your last name again?
Harshman.
Harshman, okay.
I'm of course coming here today about the Linden property.
Okay.
As a longtime Crafton resident, I would enjoy to keep the green space for our young people. I believe that all the wonderful things you're talking about, building up the pool and I think that would only enhance the capability of using that space for the use of our town. Have a flag football. I mean, Mr. Tedesco, go and get a grant for the flag football. And then you have your children using your pool, using your park, visiting your Crafton Ingram Shopping Center. All these, we all know, I know that we'd like to plan for the future. That's a wonderful thing, but that is a space for our children. They are our future. And I would also like to know, has Connington informed the borough of any intention to sell the Linden property? I mean,
No, go ahead.
that'll be, of course, something.
Yeah.
After I get talking.
Mhm.
But I do appreciate your time. And I would like very much to say that this is something I think benefits the community. Is keeping it a space for the community. Using the it's a beautiful area. It's the only green property one of the few green properties we have left. And I hope that it is still a green property in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Great. So to that point, we've had just the communication that went out. So for this meeting, you can certainly make comments and statements, but this isn't the appropriate place because the school board is not here. We're going to have visioning sessions, public comment sessions, focus groups, surveys, all of those things coming up. We don't know any of that right now at this point. So coming up to say what you want is fine, but it's not something that's going to have a big effect at this point because there will be sessions that are dedicated even specifically to those. So just ask, if you have those comments and things, there is no decision. And as the communication went out, there is no decision on that property at all. And remember that the school board owns the ball field. Crafton Borough owns the mini golf portion, but there's different requirements and Mike had put them all on the website around ownership and what can be done and what can't be done. So all of that will be reviewed in the visioning sessions that are here to come. And that's going to be happening in August, September time periods and throughout the rest of this year. So just to be clear, in case other people are going to come up to talk about Linden.
Yeah, I don't want to discourage anybody from coming up. You came down to say what you wanted to say. I say you would get up and say it, and you still have another opportunity to say it at the visioning session. So I would never discourage anybody from saying anything they wanted to say about anything at a borough meeting. You came here to voice something, and
I
so
definitely
please
just
come
read
up.
that. Yeah, I think I started with that, so thank you. All right, anybody else? Yes.
Sandy Morris, War Avenue. It was mentioned during the meeting about 82 Belvedere that you guys had some sort of meeting. Is there any update anything that can be shared with us as the community as to what's going on at property? That's just one thing. And I'm not voicing my opinion one way or another about the Linden deal. My question is, how much is the planning commission involved in that process? That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Quick note on Belvedere, we are actively pursuing interested parties to responsibly flip the property, put it back on the tax rolls responsibly into a single family household. And we're working on making progress toward that end.
I thought that was a person that had already.
Yeah, it's probably best reserved for executive session, but we're not moving yet, and which that's a lot. Yeah.
That's why I was asking.
Yeah.
Then the question on the planning commission, involvement in the Linden property.
So they are on the steering committee, is one member of the commission, the chair of the commission is on the steering committee for the visioning sessions. And once it gets to a point, I think there probably will have to be interaction, but not, the visioning process isn't necessarily going through the planning commission. So.
All right, anybody else? Mary?
Of course, Mary Luxbacher, 71 Dinsmore. I did want to say that we actually have some big events coming up at the mini golf, besides the one in October. Carlington High School soccer team and Carlington High School's band will be having two, they're going to be doing 4 events as a fundraiser for their different sports and for their band. So that'll be coming up in July. So all money collected those days, and they'll be doing some fun things. So I did want that to be advertised. And one of the local Boy Scout troops on Tuesday, next Tuesday, will also be having an event. And I know Canada High School band will also be doing an event later on in the summer. So I did want to say a lot of the, even though, you know, it's something that we really do like for people to come, and it is fundraisers and all monies for going to those organizations. Thank you.
Can anybody come to those, Mary?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not just those those groups. Okay.
Jim, can we get those on Savvy?
Yeah.
I don't know, just grab that info because I didn't know.
I can reach out to,
I wanna
I can reach out to the school district.
Okay.
Actually, Liz Palmer would be.
Oh, Liz, oh, yeah, okay, well, she's the chair of the rec board, so that's easy.
Is somebody here on this? No? Oh, yeah. Karen, Linda.
Karen Tomczyk, 50 Park Street. This question probably was for the engineer, but maybe you can answer it for me, Jim. I was wondering if you knew if they're gonna be working tomorrow, if they're gonna be pouring the concrete on Park Street. They don't usually work Fridays, but it looks like it's all ready. And
Is that-
okay,
yeah, okay,
my
so-
reason-
yeah.
my reason for asking is, we have 2 telephone poles. They finally got all the wires off the old pole. But they haven't come and taken it down. And then my neighbor called a few weeks ago to find out who we contact. They had that pole removed, but it looks like it's all framed in with the concrete. So there's gonna be 2 telephone poles right next to each other, the old one and the new one. And I was just wondering if you knew who to contact to try to get that removed before the new concrete is done.
Yeah, yes, I do know who to contact. Actually, I have a direct contact, who I've been speaking with recently because of other moves we're making with telephone poles. But I will tell you, they're notoriously take a long time to remove telephone poles. So, but I can call them and see if we can expedite it so that the concrete doesn't have to be done twice. But they would be responsible for replacing the concrete if they do, but it will have, obviously you'll see it. I mean, it won't be perfect. So I can definitely check to see if John can answer. John's usually pretty good at answering my calls, so I'll try him tomorrow and see if he picks up. And that's probably a pretty simple, because that's usually why it takes a long time.
Yeah,
Is-
they were two weeks ago, and he told me if I called the utilities and had them move, they would be right on.
That's good, because normally, because he has a hard time doing that, and that's usually his biggest struggle. Yeah.
Usually to get it from the residents, they work faster,
Yep.
so.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
So to that point, and I don't know if Greg has experience with this, is when you take out or when you replace a utility pole, because I've seen it where they put the one in and then the other one sits there for a very long period of time. What
The reason, so there's 3 different companies or 4 different companies who have
right?
attachments. Usually the Duquesne Light owns them. And then Duquesne Light allows Comcast and Verizon and anybody else who has the right to be on the pole, And usually why it takes long, which is exactly what she was just explaining, is she was talking to the guy from Duquesne Light, and Duquesne Light's like, I'll call Verizon and they won't listen to me because I call them all the time. And I'm just noise at this point. But a customer calls them and they hear it. And he told me the exact thing probably 2 weeks ago too, because they've been moving a lot of poles here and they're trying to accommodate the broadhead projects that we're putting in all this concrete. And so that's been really helpful. Thank you for doing that, because you probably saved us, having to have, 2 mismatching concrete and whatever else. But yeah, so that's
So
pretty
it's
common.
the Comcast line, Verizon line are still on the old pole.
It happens all the
And
time.
then they can't take out the old
Exactly.
pole until, okay,
Yep.
that makes sense now
Yep.
of why we see this.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
And I don't, sorry, I just want to answer your other part of your question. I don't think they are working tomorrow on concrete. But I can confirm that. I don't think so though. Yep, yep.
I'm Linda Wozniak, Bar Avenue. The brick trench restoration that A Morante is doing, on. Even another street, I apologize, Linwood. It looks like they're using mismatched bricks. Did the contractor that dug up the street take those bricks away and we got whatever Morante was restoring it with? And if so, maybe in the future, we need to figure out how to keep the bricks that belong with the street, because we've got this weird looking trench now that it doesn't match the rest. I think it would be something to talk to the contractor to make sure the restoration people get the bricks back. And I think that was it. I believe they were 2 different.
Yeah.
The contractor that did the work and then the restoration, that Morante just did the restoration. I'd
That-
like to confirm that.
Yeah, that is, yeah, sorry, that is correct.
Oh.
That is correct. They're 2 different, it's a subcontracted firm. As far as what bricks they were using, I do think there were already some mismatched bricks on those sections, because anybody who comes in, like a water company, they're required to replace in kind. They're not aesthetic. They're not required to do aesthetics. So oftentimes it's the other companies that are coming in. And I don't think we probably specified, I'm guessing we probably did not specify in the contract. We'll make sure that we do that next time, that it's the same color. And we do have plenty of bricks of multiple colors. So we have access to other bricks. I can see if we can try to make sure that the rest of it is done in matching color. They might just not have been paying attention, to be honest with you, and I hadn't noticed that yet. So yeah, we can double check that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Maybe that's something we could have the construction inspector make sure happens.
Anybody else in the room? Okay. Anybody online, please raise your hand. Okay. All right, with that, it is 8:04. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.